Hi, Kathy here from Kathy's Cute Creations, and we are going to be working on week 4. Now, I've written on my paper because, you know, at the very beginning, I told you that I had the wrong directions for some of my blocks for the week 2, which was the green light bulbs. So I've written on this one what the correct size is, and of course, before I get started, this is what you're going to be printing out. That's what we're going to be doing, and it's week 4. And those little white strips, which are on each side of the black top that your light, the little hook on it would be. And I went ahead and I made them incorrectly just to show you how to put them on. So see, this is what it is, where this is too much extended on the right and the left-hand side of the bulb. So I have my trusty jack, and I'm going to take all of these apart because I'll downsize the black ones, and I have recut out all the correct size. I'm going to fix this first before we start on these lights, which will be the same thing, but I'm just letting you know this is what I do. I go back, I correct it, because every one of these blocks, which are 8 of them, are all incorrect. I didn't have any of them correct. So now that I have the fabric, I'm going to correct all of them, and then we're going to go forward. And as you notice, they were up here, and now they're not. So let me fix all of these, and then I will come back and we will start our video. Okay, we're going to get started on week 4, and this time, I'm going to go ahead and we're going to do these correctly. Here's my 20 whites. Now, for those that don't know the size, these are 3 3/4 by 1.5. Okay? Then the little black ones are 2 inches, not 2.5 by 1.5. And I'm going to chain stitch. First off, I'm just going to put them like this. Remember to put your right sides together. Of course, the black doesn't have a right side. So I'm going to chain stitch them just like this. All of these first, and then I'll add it to the other side. So let's go ahead and let's get started. So I have my black fabric setting downward and my white on the top, or cream, whatever color yours is. And again, I'm going to do the same thing. I'm doing, if I can remember it, 1 1/8 inch is my length. Then I'll bump it up to 2.5 to do the whole thing. Then when I get towards the end, I'll bump it down. So I noticed that when I had to take that the week 2, which were the green lights, when I had to take it apart, it didn't take apart the rest of it. The rest of it, by meaning when I had to take this strip off, it didn't take it. The other pieces didn't come apart, which is normally what happens if it's all 2 1/4, because it's not that tight. But by making just a little bit tighter stitch, then it didn't come apart as I did it. So I only had to take this off, and that's it. If you guys have used good old jack enough times, you'll know what I'm talking about. If you're still new to this, you're not going to have an understanding of it, which is fine. You'll learn it when you get it, how it comes apart. It's like the whole darn block starts falling apart everywhere you've sewed. So we're just going to do one at a time. And chain stitching is what I'm doing here, where I just do one right after the other. I don't start and stop. I'm continuing to watch Christmas movies. I'm watching one now, The Best Christmas Ever is the name of it. And when I first started out, I didn't think it was that good, but now that I've gotten into it and realized what's happening, I understand a little bit better. But it had a lot to do with, which I didn't realize, she was kind of, this is a husband and wife with a couple of kids, and their kids aren't perfect, and they don't do the Christmas card where you write everything that's been going on in your life in the past year and that kind of thing. And her husband was in a band at one time, and the woman, when their band split up, you know, they went their own ways, because that was back in the college days. But she was kind of like bashing the fact that, and I think it's because she felt like the card she got was bragging. So it was a acquaintance of his in college that he did with the band, and she would talk about how she got into college at 10 years old and all the successes. I believe that she retired, sold her business and retired at a young age. Her husband does, I'm going to mess this up. I think it was some type of judo, but I don't think it was judo. I think it was something else. And then her daughter, maybe the daughter that was the one that got into college. But anyway, she's a little genius. Their son is in Africa doing something that's heroic. But she put all this in her little, I call it a little newsletter with her Christmas card. And so this other girl is the one that was bashing it. And then her son has a monkey that he calls Bob. Now, it's not a fictitious friend. It's actually a stuffed monkey. And, of course, this child gets in trouble every time you turn around because he's blamed it on Bob. But anyway, so I guess, you know, you don't say things in front of your children because, you know, kids pick up everything. And so she made a comment. And now she wasn't being truthful with the comment. She just made it sarcastically. But her son was young enough. He didn't understand that it was sarcastically. And she said there was nothing better that she would like than to go to this woman. I can't recall her name. Her house, her and her husband, and visit them. Well, then she turns around in the same sentence and says to her son, put your aunt, whatever the aunt's name is, which is her sister, put her name and address in the telephone so we can get the GPS because that's who we're going to go visit. Well, he's sitting there at the seat and she goes, now don't be downloading any games and pulling anything funny. And he talks to now we don't hear what he says. So he's talking to Bob and he goes, oh, Bob, that's a really good idea. So the next thing you know, they arrive at this house and she goes, wow, she goes, that's kind of weird. And I don't think they've been to her sister's for quite a while. And her husband says, well, did she move? And she goes, I don't think she moved. She goes, I don't recall her house looking like this. So she rang the doorbell, and here, the woman that answered the doorbell is the one that used to be in the band with her husband. That's when it dawned on her, because her husband goes, well, how did you get her address? And she goes, well, I don't know. And he goes, well, didn't you put it in the phone? And she goes, oh, no. She says, I told your son to put it in the telephone. So now they figured it out. So he's all for staying. And of course, she opens up the door and she goes, wow. She goes, believe it or not, she goes, we have never had anybody take us up on our offer. So at the end of their letter, every single year, they say, you can drop on by unannounced. And she goes, uh-oh, I'm going to win this between me and my husband because nobody's ever taken us up on it. Well, then that's when they realized they had the wrong address and she thought it was her sister's and everything. So that's how the story started out, which is kind of funny. But she feels like their life, the lady here in the program, that her life is too perfect to be real. So she thinks there's something up. Either they're faking what they've made or who they are and all that kind of stuff. And so she, you know, she's trying to find something because she thinks it's suspicious. Well, of course, you know, they have no clue what she's doing. But in the end, or well, about midway through it, what had happened was all along, and she didn't know it, is that her husband was doing the same thing, telling about how their lives were, you know, how their kids are doing, how their wife is doing, and all that. But she didn't know it, and because she didn't like it, he was keeping it from her. Well, of course, you know, this family here, she gets a letter from them because they interact with each other all the time. And she convinces him, you've got to go clean. You can't keep letting her believe that you don't do this when you do it. And, of course, it's causing a strain on her husband and her during this Christmas time. And a letter came in the mail, and sure enough, it was the letter from him. And, of course, now she's suspicious, thinking her husband is involved with her, which is about as crazy as I'll get out there. They don't even live close together or anything. And anyway, so it's come to a head where she made the comment that she tried to get him to come clean, and that letter that she saw in their mail, she thought that she didn't look at the mail, but she did, trying to explain to her that is the letter that he writes every year. And then I had to stop it because I was done repairing all of my last lights, the green ones, which you know at the very beginning of this video, if you watched it, that I went ahead and repaired it. So I've got it on pause while I'm doing this video for y'all. So it looks like a pretty good movie. So I'll finish that when I'm finished with this. And so while I'm doing this, I'll talk to you real quick here. So I am so behind on everything that I have done. I took a week's vacation thinking I was going to catch up on a lot of videos and everything, and I'm going to tell you, I didn't get to do any of that. I ended up doing a spring cleaning job on my house instead. 3 rooms, in fact, which we've got to work on next weekend to clean them again. But anyway, I don't know how your house can get dirty when you don't do a darn thing in it, but boy, oh boy. You know, and I don't even open my windows, so I don't know how all the dust and crap, filth is what I call it, but all the dust and everything gets in your house. But anyway, so I'm looking over here over at my quilts and stuff, and I want to get back to my t-shirt quilt that I'm doing, because I'd like to finish that up, and I'm trying to figure out how to do it, because I know I need to go ahead and show you guys also, but there's got to be a faster way to do that. And I feel like I'm so behind on it, and I don't want to let anybody down, especially if you're watching and you're trying to learn from me. I'm looking over here at the tail end of my, oh my gosh, I can't even think of the name of them. The cotton cuts. I had one that I was finishing that I didn't get done. I was doing the one on my video, but I was also, in the same time, I'm doing my daughter-in-law's, because I'm doing her one, which I showed the colors because she's got the darker colors. I used the lighter. Hold on one second. Let me cut my fabric here. Anyway, I've got that stacked over here, and my last package came, and you know, it gets the final squares and the binding and all that, and I need to finish doing that online for anybody that was following along on that one, because I hate to leave all that kind of stuff hanging. And then I have some projects. You know, I get these boxes from Stephanie and also from Yvette, and okay, so somehow I feel like I've got extra. Maybe I cut extra today. Let's double check and make sure I've got them all. Now I feel like I'm short. Let's see, 1, 2, should be 10, I think. 2, 3, oh, let me make sure. Yep, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8, 9. Am I short? Wait a minute. Recount. 2, 3, 4, 5. Oops, 3. I'm short 2. Well, that explains these 4, so somehow I'm short. I just got up and I looked at the camera and it's like, oh my gosh, I hope I did get all that in there, that shot. Well, I cut me 2 more pieces of black fabric. I was too short. I don't know how that happened. Anyway, took the kitten, you know, I got a new kitten. Rescued a new kitten. Took her in, got her shots and everything, and asked about spading, chipped and all that kind of stuff. And they told me, she gave me an estimate for the spading, but they told me they won't do the spading until the cat is 6 months old. Well, the other 2 rescues that I got from an actual rescue organization, they did their spading when they were 3 pounds. So I guess that's got to do with the veterinarian place. I don't know. But anyway, point being that it's about $250 to get them spayed. And then she said that by the time she's 6 weeks, it'll be next year and the price will go up next year. And it's like, are you kidding me? I guess that's going to be it for me at rescuing animals. When I got my 2 kittens from an actual rescue place, this one I got from a friend, which I won't do that again. Anyway, so the one I got from the rescue that had a whole bunch of kittens that I rescued, 2 of them, I paid like $168 for each cat, which included all shots. I did not have to go back and get repeat shots. And the neuter, the chip, and everything. So my question is, how can that establishment charge me so much less versus an actual vet? Which I think is ridiculous. But anyway, they said she had a heart murmur, and we'll keep an eye on that. She'll probably outgrow it. So this is the last pet I'm getting. Supposedly she's supposed to walk out the door when Megan goes. Megan's supposed to be taking 2 cats out of the 4 I have. We'll see if that happens. If not, I'm going to end up with 4 cats. But anyway, I don't know how all these people that are all doing all this hoarding and everything, they must never be getting any of their cats fixed or shots or anything, because around here it's way too expensive. I talked to my sister. Hold on one second. I'm going to iron these open real quick. Okay, so what I was talking about was I was going to tell you that my sister down in her area, and she lives down in Missouri, the vet charges $25 for a pet neuter, male or female. That tells you there's something wrong up here in Maryland with spading, or else we're all being gouged. I don't know. But anyway, moving right along about this movie that I'm watching. So while I was marking, keep in mind you need to mark, if you watched week 2, which was the green lights, you'll know that we need to take our squares and we need to mark the back side. They all have to be marked on the diagonal, which is what I've done. And while I did it, I was continuing to watch that movie. I need to pick that up. I'll go over a little bit. Anyway, so they came up with an idea to do something. And so now I've discovered it was the child that went to the college. And she's all into math and all that. So they went to the bank to get a loan. I guess they're going to fix a dollhouse. Was her grandmother, his grandmother? It must have been it was his grandmother. I wish they had said their names again. I could have told you the characters, but shucks, I can't remember them. But anyway, the one that they're visiting, okay? So her grandmother, when her grandfather died, in order to bring in income, because she had to finish raising the family, she created these dollhouses. They were special, and she sold them. Well, they had one left, and by accident, that girl knocked it off the table and ruined it. So then their bright idea to get themselves on the map, I guess, is to create these dollhouses. And so they were going to go get a loan so they could start a business. And the guy at the bank said that based on their oh my God, look at, I've drawn a total blank about what you get based on the credit report. Anyway, so based on the credit report, he said he would give them I think it started out like at 6 or something like this, but I don't even remember the loan. But anyway, so they brought their daughter, so it's all 3 of the women. Of course, this little girl, and she told them that. Now, you know that in a bank, he's like out in the open. It's not like he's in his own little cubby hole, okay? So she says that she looked him up. So the little girl did investigation. And when she did investigating, she said that it was plurable about what was going on in that bank. And she said that when his customers find out, they're not going to be shopping at that bank anymore for any kind of loans or anything. And then he goes, well, wait. And she goes, you've got to do better than that. So they were down to 4%. And she said, no, that's too much. And then he said he would go down to like 4. I think he said, no, he had to have been above 4 because he took it down to like 4.3 or 4.6. And she goes, nope. And so they got up and started walking off. And so the girl, the one who had the dollhouse, she goes, keep walking. I'll tell you when to stop walking. So they're all the way down to the point that he said 3 point something. And then the little girl turns to him and says, if you can do 3.0, we'll talk. And he goes 3.0. And so then they turned around and went back and went to sit down. That's when I had to stop it again because I was done marking all these. All right, I'm going to go ahead and I'm going to make this 1 so that you can see what it looks like. Now remember that after you put your very first large square on and you cut off the edge, you cannot put the second one on until the first one's been cut and ironed, okay? Because it's got to overlap itself. Right, so if you're following me, this is what you have. You cut those edges off and you flipped them up. Same with here. And now this is where we're going to put this one on because it's going to overlap down here, okay? All right, let's do that. Now when I like to sew mine, I like to do it so that I'm on the corner of the red and then come down to the white because of the bump. I don't want to go on the bump to begin with because that will pull your fabric under. I mean, I know you can put a leader ender and all that, but I feel like you got a little bit better grip on it. I don't know how to explain it. I just prefer it. There we go. Now we're going to cut this edge off. Okay, now this is where you're going to put your sides on before you put your top. Your top goes up here, which is this black and white one here. Goes like that. But you have to put these sides on first, okay, to make it so that it's wide enough to put the top on. There you go. So we're going to do this, and then we're going to do that. Now in this case, I went ahead and I pinned both ends, both sides, the right and the left. So I can just flip it over. Whoops, and I did not put down my stitch length, but that's okay. Oh, and so I also wanted to mention, my sister finally went ahead and retired. She had a co-worker who actually made her a cake, and a couple of different co-workers bought her like a gift card and things like that. And I asked her, I said, was that like a party? And she goes, well, not really a party because they didn't all, do it. It was just some of the co-workers that she worked with that did that for her. And I said, so what do you got, like a couple of weeks left? And she goes, oh no, that was the actual last day. And so it's like, oh my gosh. So I said to her, so what was the first thing you did, when you quit? And everybody's telling her, oh, you're going to be bored to death. And well, I got news for you. She's not going to be bored to death by retiring, nor would I be, because we keep really busy. We have sewing rooms. So her first day of retirement, she went to Hobby Lobby to find backing fabric for a baby blanket that she's making for someone. And then after she got home, her neighbor called her up and said she's going to the dollar store. Did she want to ride along? And of course she said, sure. That's what you do. You do whatever you want when you're retired. So she went to the dollar store. And then she found out after she did all that, that there actually was a dollar store right there in the same little complex. I call them little malls, but whatever. In the little complex that is right down the street from her. She goes, well, when the heck did that thing pop up? And her friend says, well, that's been there for a minute. And she goes, oh my gosh, I didn't even know it. And the thing is, she goes to Walmart that's right there in that area. All right, we have it finished. It's all ironed and everything. I love the way that the backing is coming. It's all falling, all real nice. I went ahead and put the glue stick that I use. I don't have the acorn one. I got the other one that I came in a bag that I'm still using. I won't get into my acorn until I'll try my acorn after I'm done with this one, and if I don't like it, I'll just use the stuff in this little tube because it's like a pencil that I kind of like. But anyway, so so then her friend says, well, not only is the Hobby Lobby there, she turned around and she goes, now they're going to put a Target. And I said, oh my gosh, you're going to have everything right there, right down the corner from you. She goes, yeah, I won't have to travel far at all to do everything. I got to go all over to check for my stuff. All right, let's go ahead and we're going to sew some more. I don't know what else the heck I could talk about, but I got one other thing I can talk about. And then I just may let you guys finish up this square because I already know that this is going to be a little bit longer than the last one on week 2. But I don't want to make these videos too long. It's so much easier just to make them short and just get to the point. But that is the first one done for the little light. And I want to bring my other one over here. Hold on one second. I'm going to grab a stack. So there's what they look like when they're together, the green and the red. I like those swirls. They look really good. All right, let's go ahead and finish up. Now, this is 8.5 by 8.5. Let me go up here. Just so you know, they're 8.5 by 8.5. I'm going to do the 2 little squares and then the 1 bigger square on the red. And then I will take them all over here. I'll trim them all. I'll iron them all open, and then I'll put that last block on them. Let me see how I'm going to do that. Okay, so the other thing I was going to say is, I may have said this in another video, but I'm not sure if I did. So, I was going to show a specific, I bought a kit from a shop, and I was going to go ahead and show how I made it, because, you know, everybody makes everything differently. I thought, well, I would ask permission and ask her if I could do that. Well, she wrote back and said no. So I said, okay, so then I didn't. Well, then that kind of bothered me because I had already bought the kit. It's not like, I mean, I don't know if it was her design or anything, or she, created the kit, or what the story was. But I didn't do it. So I asked some other YouTubers that have been, doing YouTube longer than me, know more about it and everything. And I said, so what do you think about something like that? And they said, well, first off, why did I feel like I should have asked them? And I said that I thought maybe, it was their kit, their idea, their design, whatever. Not that you couldn't go buy it again. You could still go buy it. I mean, they still had more in their shop. Okay, let's go this way. Let's not put this on wrong. So anyway, they said to me, if you bought it, you can show it. They don't have a monopoly on it. Whether they show it or not is beside the point, because sometimes people sell kits and stuff, and that specific store, they don't show you how to make it. And so I said, oh, I didn't think about that, and I couldn't remember. I couldn't even recall if they showed how to make it, to be truthful with you. I don't remember if they did. But anyway, I said, oh, okay, well, in that case, the next time I get something, whoever it's from, whatever, it doesn't make any difference. I can just, oh my gosh, I just did that backwards. I did it on 1/8 the whole entire time. Let's hope I don't have to take that thing out. I'm trying to think, did I do it on that? Yeah, I did it on the left side. Okay, so now I'm going to go with the next one. This is what happens. I talk and I get like distracted and losing my spot and everything else. I do have something else by that person, or that company, not that person. I don't know why I said that. But anyway, she said, just when you go on and you decide to do it, she goes, don't mention them. Just do your own thing and don't bother saying where you got it from. Just go with the flow. You bought it, so just say you're making it and you're going to show how to make it, and give them, if you want to give them sizes. Of course, not. I don't know if I want to give them the sizes if I bought something in a kit. I think I would just show it for showing's sake, not that I want them to copy the whole thing. That to me might be wrong. I don't know. You guys can give me your opinion. I don't know. But like Cotton Cuts, even though, of course I didn't give their measurements either, and they made up kits and sold them, and I'm pretty sure that other people took their kits after they got done and measured, took the measurements of that and made other blocks and kits, and I'm sure people do that all the time. It's not that they're, it's not like you're selling it, so you're not making a profit off of it. So to me, unless you're making multiples and selling them, you're not hurting their company. I mean, you're actually advertising that they got this product at that company, and you would think that would be free advertising and they would like that. I mean, if they're not showing how to make it and you're showing how to make it and you bought it from them, then they're going to buy a kit and make it too, that kind of thing. So I'm not quite sure the reasoning behind it, but you guys can tell me whatever you feel, because I try not to infringe on anybody, not trying to give out sizes, and and I don't mind telling different, like Fort Worth Fabric Studios, I think is great. They have their patterns on their site. They have them for free. You can buy all the fabric. You can buy their rulers to cut it out with. You can ask them. I think that you could ask them if you wanted something specific and they didn't carry it. They could probably get it for you, if you're their customer. I mean, don't bank on that being true, but that's what most companies do. If you specifically, if they get enough people that say, hey, would you, like they got that, oh my gosh, hold on, I'm trying to think, what is the ruler? The one whose name I say wrong every single time. Y'all know what I'm talking about. Oh gosh, what is the name of that ruler? The lock block ruler. If there were enough people that said they wanted that smaller size, because that one that they sell, and if I'm wrong, I'm sorry, but I believe it is the 4.5 inch square. That's the one they sell. If somebody said, would you get me the next size down, the smaller one, I'd like to buy it, and there were enough of us that asked that, I am sure that the Fort Worth Fabric Studios would be more than happy to go and buying the next size down and start selling it, and people would be buying it. Okay? I'm just saying. Oh, and that made me think of something about Fort Worth fabric, too. So, you know they're in Fort Worth, Texas. And there was something I was looking at. There was some other thing that I did that came from Fort Worth, Texas. Then, when I was at my vet's office, on the wall, which I'm not quite sure what it was because I couldn't read it from the distance I was at, but whatever it was went to Fort Worth, Texas. And I thought, Jesus, there's a whole bunch of things that seems to go to Fort Worth, Texas, which I never even paid attention to until just recently I see it like everywhere. So that must be a famous place to be sending different stuff. And I have no idea what the vet's office was sending there. Okay, the reason I constantly have to do this right here when I do that is because when my bobbin cuts off my thread, it stays tucked down underneath in my bobbin case. And so I'm trying to get it out so it doesn't get jammed up inside there. There we go. Okay, I guess that is it. I can't think of anything else to say. I'm going to go ahead and shut my camera off. You guys go ahead and finish up these squares, and then we'll come back when we're totally finished. I'll go ahead and I'll put the green ones up against the red one after I show all the red ones because I just think they're so pretty, and I'm so glad that they used the same kind of fabric, the design for the green as well as the red, these swirls or whatever they are. I just think that they go so well together. Okay, that's it for now, and then I'll come back when I'm all done, and you guys go ahead and finish all yours up. There they are, both sets, and I call them sets because they're a set of 10 each of the red lights. And I'm going to put the green up here. So you have an idea of how they're going to look when they get around that quilt, which we will be finishing next week. But we will be doing blocks first. We won't just be doing the finishing part of it. That wraps up week 4. And next week will be the final week. And I am so glad everybody has joined me that has. I hope you all learned something new and really had an enjoyable time. These lights didn't take any time at all. And I will see you next week. And thank you everybody for watching. Welcome to all the new subscribers. If you'd like to make a comment, please do. If you would like to give me a thumbs up, I really appreciate it. And you haven't subscribed, go ahead and do that too. I'll see y'all next week. Bye-bye.